Here we are one more time for our podcast. I'm Cassiano Costa. I'm here at Costa Performance in Boca Raton. We have our beautiful performance center here. And today's topic, we're gonna debate topic of injury prevention. Is it a real thing? Is it some type of gimmick? Well, I do believe that, I like the better safe than sorry. And I think the injury prevention lies on that nest. So if we really can avoid them to happen, that's still debatable. That's still to be figured out. But definitely, we can provide so much help, and that starts on the warm-up, goes all the way through the training session, and finishes on the recovery. So on today's podcast, we're trying to touch base on every single aspect of this famous, renowned topic, the injury prevention in racket sports. When we're talking about injury, obviously, it's very important to understand what are the main occurrences of injuries in the sports, right? So I'll separate here tennis, padel, pickleball to describe. I'll go by joints, the things you will find more on your athlete. Definitely because of the actions being acceleration of the arm and some of that even overhead. The shoulder joint is a joint that is quite stressed in all the sports that we mentioned as an intermediate joint in between the shoulder and the wrist. The elbow obviously suffer lots of stress. The characteristic of playing in a ready stance, kind of like a squatting stance, and it changes of direction, and the start and stop type of action. The knee being intermediate in between the hip and ankle obviously suffers a lot of stress, holds a lot of load. It's a rotational, or those are all rotational sports. Some of them requiring on some of your actions a massive transition from extension to flexion of the lumbar spine. So obviously the lumbar spine is something we have to address. The wrist as well as the hip. I would say hip probably in the past wasn't very noticed, wasn't very thought of an area that I would suffer with the stress of these sports, but more and more we've been seeing that due to the main aggressiveness and rotational characteristic, the hip is something that has been suffering lots and lots of load and stress. Now, when you think of this, when you start understanding the mechanisms that can generate these type of injuries or consequences of the high effort, it's very important that from the beginning, from the initiation of your day, so we're talking about the warm-up, we try and add exercises, routines, plans that will try to give its best in order to cover protection for this joint. So we're talking about your mobility work, we're talking about your stability work, we're talking about some specific phases of strengthening, some specific phases of the dynamic stretching. I would say when you build a good, accurate warm-up, this is such a powerhouse for your body. This is such a good initiation for the activity you're going to perform. So many, they split the warm-up in different events or in different phases. I like to definitely add a transition for intensity. So go for more static, or not static stretching, please. That for warm-up overall is not the best strategy, but more static motions in place and less intense, and then progress to things that go more dynamic and more intense, but definitely adding lots of the type of work we described a little before on the top. Another joint that are extremely important to provide some type of specific work in order to stabilize and avoid possible injuries is the ankle, because the ankle, the type of injuries, they're not much overused as the other joints, but more because of the constant change of direction, a bigger chance of ankle rolls, and even on the calf area is not uncommon. Some calf tears or sprains throughout one's career, or even on the recreational level. Now, the one thing that is important to say is, sometimes we think about these routines and we think on the professional level only. To be honest, the recreational athlete, probably that guy, he needs to do even more than just the professional athlete, because the professional athlete kind of spends his whole day preparing himself or herself to his activity, whereas the recreational athlete, and I speak from experience, we jump on the court barely warming up, and it's as important and perhaps more important for the regular weekend warriors that we do a good warm-up and try and use the time wisely, providing strategies already on the warm-up. If you ever want to take a look on some samples, obviously if you check our Instagram and YouTube, we have plenty of examples of good routines and things that tend to work and help out decreasing occurrence of injuries that could be avoidable. Now, obviously, especially on the professional level, or the people that have the time to invest on it. It's not only the warm-up that will be part of this event, right? Like the prevention. So it's important to create plans, and on that matter, it can be through your strength and conditioning coach, it can be through your PT or athletic trainer, whoever you have the trust and has the knowledge to facilitate that for you. It's important to create plans with a good preventive strategy, and this will rely mainly on 4 aspects: the stabilization, the strengthening, the mobility, and the coordination / control. Because the joint provides a lot of torque. You have a lot of like a linear acceleration or rotational acceleration transferred at the end to linear acceleration, and that for every single joint on that rotational component is quite stressful. So you'll be good if you have good foundation, if you're strong, so generate that with good control, good coordination, that your joints are mobile, so you can produce range of motion that is well controlled, and obviously that the joint is stable, so you don't have any compensatory movement that can generate extra stress, and then with that creating unnecessary forces and potentially driving that to injury. Here at our center, our athletes, as part of their daily routine, will throw 15-20 minutes of activities that are gonna be specifically for that situation. Now, not necessarily those exercises are fun to do. I even coined the term BI, B as in Brazil, boring but important, because the exercises require a lot of control, a lot of coordination, a lot of patience. Sometimes it's challenging because an exercise, the intensity is low, but the execution is not so easy. So it does require a lot from the person doing it, you know. The other thing is, and we are victims of that too. So here, sometimes when we go work out, I'm gonna give an example. Coach Lucas Benchimol, who's right next to me here eating his energy bar. Sometimes he's going to work out here at the gym. He looks at us and say, hey, what do I do today? What do you guys suggest? What type of exercise? Because it's tough to create, it's tough to pick up, right? Like straight away. Even us having the knowledge for it. So it's important that you have someone that can guide you through it, and especially those strategies that I wouldn't say they are new. I just kicked the camera, sorry. I want to say that they are new, but you know, I think that the planning, the putting together, science is a bit newer. So it's important that you have someone that can guide you through that process. Now, there are some hidden factors that contribute a lot for a healthy body, for a healthy joint, healthy tissues. And those are things that it looks like your grandma is telling you, or maybe she knew already. So maybe she was advanced in time. There's a few things that could be extremely helpful to avoid injury. Number 1, sleeping quality. Nowadays, we do have devices that can take a look on the quality of your sleep. And it's funny because some people, they can sleep longer hours, but it's not very restorative, just because phases of the sleep, I won't get too fancy on the terms here, but the part of the sleep that is really used to rebuild your mental activity, to rebuild your physiology, if they don't reach a certain percentage of your total amount of sleep, they're not necessarily restorative. So not only the amount of hours you sleep, right? Since I'm a kid, I hear about the 8 hours, 7 to 9, 10, wherever it is. If those hours are not in good quality, and there are plenty of strategies to help with the quality of sleep, from supplements to strategies that you should do before going to bed. Things like don't do your homework, don't do your work on bed, avoid obviously screen, alcohol, or eating heavy meals too close to bed. Those type of things that can be avoidable, they can really impact positively the quality of your sleep. Second thing, or I'll put second and third together, right? So nutrition / hydration strategies. Now, I've seen a lot of athletes that they come here, they don't drink a sip of water during the training session. They don't drink a sip of water the day they are on their day off. Then during the match, they decide to drink the whole water storage of the supermarket. That's not hydration. That's actually very close to stupidity, because hydration is a long process that it goes day by day before your event. Is pretty much a habit. You know, it's pretty much a strategy, discipline, and organization that you have to do. Now, it's funny because I was reading some medical books from the 19th century. It was funny because the recommendation for most of the diseases that they were on the book started with drink water. And as stupid as it looks like, it makes total sense, right? Like if your cells are hydrated, if your whole system is hydrated, if your muscle is hydrated, chances are that you get less sick or that you get less injured. And then obviously nutrition, you know, there are plenty of power foods that can help with the metabolism of the body. Those are your vitamins, those are your antioxidants, those are your minerals, Those are your power proteins. Anyway, I'm not a nutritionist here. Maybe one day we bring one to talk to us and go more through with that topic. But definitely what we know, the quality of your food impact the quality of your life, so on, gonna impact the chances of you getting injured or not. Now, a few things that you can do that are more sports related. The use of strategies that get the tension on the body in reduction, right? So if you have people that you can access and you have the strategy and you have the logistic and the budget, obviously going to your PT, going to your masseuse, going to your Pilates instructor, yoga instructor, those guys are going to be extremely helpful to keep your body healthy, safe, and free of injury. If you don't have that, then you have strategies that you can do on your own. So you can do your stretches. Stretch is not a magic tool. It's not that you do stretch, you don't get injured, but definitely if you don't do, then you have more chance, you're more prone to do it. You have your myofascial release that I can do, I'll call self-myofascial release, that is done through the use of your foam roller, the use of some balls like baseball, lacrosse ball, even tennis balls can be placed to do that type of strategy. Now, obviously, to prevent is much better than to, create the medicine for it. So to prevent is some strategy that you can do in a daily basis. To prevent is something that you can do with organization and discipline. To prevent is something that you can do with a lot of work, but I promise it's worth it. I myself have 2 hip replacements, and when I did my second one, it was sad that I would have tough time to walk and run and perform. I play a few soccer leagues, I do my skateboarding, surfing sometimes. So why? Daily basis, I spend some time working on protecting my hip. Hip mainly, but also lower back, thoracic spine, other things that the aging brings to you, right? And the secret for me is not only because people always look for the magic pill that are gonna give you, something extremely different, extremely powerful. No, power is consistency, sorry. Every single day, the little time you can have to take care of you, they are very, very powerful. And in the long term, it makes a big difference. So it's important that the same amount of effort we put on just training for the performance, either on the gym, with the strength training, with the cardio training, with the agility training, wherever it is, we should put for the strategies of recovery, the strategies of warm up, the strategies of injury prevention. One question that arises, right? Like if I already have an injury, are those strategies working for me? Listen, that's a complicated answer. Potentially, if you already have an injury, best course of action is to look for a PT, to make sure that they were rehabbed. But yes, probably throughout the rehab process, he or she gonna use strategies that are very similar to what we use as prevention. I think that's a beautiful crossover that we have now on our fields when the strength and conditioning coach goes for those strategies, when the PT, when they act together, the more information, the more eyes on you, the better it is, right? So that's why professional athletes, I'll give an example, guys like Novak Djokovic, they have on their team strength and conditioning, PT, nutritionist, a chef sometimes, mental coaching, scout coaching, and so on. So there is room for all the professions, even if their fields are crossing a little bit here and there. Another question, if I don't have too much time, should I focus only on one joint? I would say no, on an approach that is more broad, that is more multitask. If you have 20 minutes a day, maybe take 5 minutes per joint. If you have like 2 days that you can do it, maybe one day divide, splitting couple joints, and then the other day other joints. The one thing I say for life, definitely take care of your hips. You used to sit down, you used to lay down, you used to walk, you used to do everything. The spine and the hips, independent of the sport you play, you're gonna take a very important role in your life. Now for the racket sports, definitely watch out for your shoulder, elbow, and wrist, because although more and more I've been seeing more injuries on the spine and hip, just because of the characteristic of the speed of the game, still the upper body is top of the list overuse injuries. It's not, it's not a coincidence, right? That we have a situation, the epicondylitis, that is called tennis elbow. Might be a reason, might be because, one part of the link is not as strong as it should be, or as mobile as it should be, or more importantly, as stable as it should be. Another part is, which is not necessarily prevention per se, but it gets into the realm of prevention. When you have an injury, especially muscular injury, sometimes at the very end of the rehab, it looks like you're fully ready to go. Sometimes you're not ready to go. So listen to the professional who is working with you, because the reoccurrence of injuries is probably the second biggest reason why people get injured. And that's not that the rehab wasn't well done, it's just, sometimes there was a little bit of rush on the process of getting back to practice. I do believe that, I'm not a big fan of the term injury prevention, but I do believe that through a decent, organized, customized program, one person can decrease a lot the chance of the overuse injuries. Some impact injuries, some contact injuries are still tough to, be really avoidable. Although a stable body can always have more chance of being safe than an unstable body, right? And if you see the good thing of the racket sports, you don't really have a contact that can create a traumatic system of injury. But on the other hand, you repeat a lot of the same gesture, the same movements. So it's important that you keep your body healthy and safe. Well, do believe we covered a decent amount of info here as usual. You guys know we have our social media, Costa Performance, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you have any question for our podcast, please always DM us or get in touch with us. It's always a pleasure to be able to contribute to you guys. Hopefully quite soon we'll start having fun and engaging guests here, so it'll be less boring. Listen to my accent and see other brilliant people with good information. Hope you guys had fun as much as I did. I see you in the next chapter.